So, Gold Market Property Management. You keep emailing me about my experience here. Now I'm going to tell you, since you refuse to leave me the fuck alone. My experience here at first was okay. Until I asked what the law says I got a right to ask for in Minnesota law about copies of utility bills and the water bill, okay, for the past 2 years and how much the previous tenants were paying. Your management and her boss, Jenna and her boss, retaliates against all people of color. Retaliate against the disability, the disabled, veterans, period. There's no much about it. All right? They come up with all of this bull and stuff, and they lie so much. Like, I give you an example. When I asked for the repairs to be done, they was all stopped. All repairs were stopped. Okay? I had to put everything in escrow. See right here, escrow. Everything was put in escrow. The rent was put in escrow. The rent was put in escrow. All right? I'm going to show you how the people that's running this for your agency lie so much. Like, I got a call one day, okay? And I want you to listen to it. It's really interesting.
Hi, this is here with Energy Assistance calling to let you know that your app,
Oh, no, that's not the one. Hold up. Where did it go? It was, Oh, I think this is the one.
Hi, this message is for Keith. This is Kristen calling from Goldmark Property Management. I'm calling in regards to the rent you owe at Echo Manor. I am calling, this is, I believe, the third time I've called and left you a message regarding the fact that we have not received a rent payment for you for the month of January. That is the month that you had said you put your rent in escrow. However, the courts confirmed that you did not deposit any money to the courts. So you do have an outstanding balance right now of $1,443.34, and we will be sending you the 14-day notice of intent to evict. So you will have 14 days from today, which is February 10th, to get your account paid in full to avoid the eviction being filed. If you could please give me a call as soon as you get this message at 952-567-7302. Thank you.
Now listen, look at the date. Look at the date, 12/31/2024. Escrow for escrow payment. Notice of hearing for escrow, rent escrow. Okay? All right? All right? 1/13/2025. All right, at 1:30 p.m. Now, she just stated, this is how they lie. This is how these white folks, some of these white folks out here lie real good. She stated she called the courts, and the courts said there was no rent in escrow. That's when I put the rent in escrow. Why? States right here, retaliation, because I asked for copies of bills, and they violated the state law of Minnesota that tenants are not responsible. Listen carefully. Under landlord-tenant rights, tenants are not responsible for sewage. So they kept billing me sewage, $25.84, $35, $48 for sewage. When we're not responsible for sewage. And I'll pull up that law for you too. All right? And I've been asking for repairs to be done. The kitchen sink was leaking. They knew about it. Okay? The kitchen sink was leaking. And the bathroom, you had to use pliers to turn the water on and off, right? All of that was done. They did the repairs once the judge, I said, oh yeah, I got a copy because they was notified about this, and all Jenna did was retaliate against me. And her supervisor, her boss, the one you heard, retaliated against me because I've been fighting for repairs and everything else. And that's what they did. All right? So now this is the funny thing. Well, she just said she called the courts, and then this was dated by the courts, filed in district court, state of Minnesota, dated 12/31/2024. The hearing was 1/13/2025, and she claimed that there was no such thing that I put the rent in escrow. This is the corruption, and I'm going to file a case in federal court under the RICO Act, because that's what Goldmark Property Management is doing to the tenants. And this lady, they fall under the RICO Act. It's an organized crime, extorting money and the works. Okay? So now we got to that there. She said there was no such thing whatsoever. She called the courts. You heard her name, you heard her phone number. She called the courts. I didn't do this. Oh, by the way, there's a signature of the court of the clerk. Signature of the court of the clerk. Signature of the court of the clerk, the date and time. Signature of the court of the clerk, the date, signature, date, signature. But nothing was put in escrow until I got the repairs done. Now the repairs were done. The repairs were done. I was happy about that, because then I got tired of taking water out of the bathroom to the kitchen sink. Oh, and then they thought, well, you got a dishwasher. I don't use dishwashers. I don't believe in dishwashers. I don't believe in them whatsoever. I hate dishwashers. I don't even use dishwashers. All right? So then, this is where the retaliation come at. I asked for all of this and asked for all of this, and all I got was retaliation. But in Minnesota, which I found, a landlord cannot refuse to renew a lease solely on retaliation. Now, mind you, they denied to renew my lease because I cursed her out. And I got that right. Once you disrespect me, I'm not going to let you disrespect me. No. I'm not going to let you disrespect me. I asked for these things. By law says I got a right to have. The law, Minnesota law, says I have a right to have this. I have a right to ask for repairs. Repairs got to be done at a certain time, fixed at a certain time. I have that constitution. Well, the law says I got that right. I couldn't do nothing. Like, I give you another example. I said, well, I need to know if I can put handles in to raise myself up in and out of the tub. All right? I was told that I had to wait. Okay, no problem. No problem. No problem. Whatever. Sent the text message. Well, what's going on? You're giving me all of this here, you people, and this and that, and I feel that this is discrimination and retaliation against me because I'm asking a reasonable thing. All I asked for is some handles to be put in the bathroom so I can raise myself up while I take my leg off and stuff. That's all I asked for. Nothing special, nothing special whatsoever. Now back to what it says here about, let me see, where do I got that at? Okay, right here. It is illegal for a landlord or property management to charge a tenant for sewage or sewage repairs. Right there. Right there. Okay? Hold on, let me see if I can get a better picture for y'all. Okay? The landlord is responsible for all repairs and sewage repairs, not the tenants. Okay? And then right here, it states right there under landlord tenants. Right there. I don't know if y'all can see that. Well, the light's in the way, but there it is right there in Minnesota. Okay? And if you look further and further, you'll see that it states that the landlord and property owner are responsible for sewage, not the tenant. You cannot charge the tenants for sewage or sewage repairs unless the tenant is responsible for the damage of the sewage, which is impossible. That's very, very impossible. No ifs and buts. All right? So I asked for this here, and all I got was retaliation after that, man, right? So then they want to play games, right? Here on 12/31/2024, my signature. I sent them out a letter with a cashier's check of $985 for the rent for February 3rd, 2025. I will no longer pay for rent insurance. I will no longer pay for rent insurance because it does not benefit me whatsoever. You are not an insurance company to sell or force anyone to have renter's insurance. You're not an insurance company. You are not licensed. And I looked. I had it investigated and everything else. We couldn't find Goldmark Property Management. We couldn't find Echo Apartments. We couldn't find Deer Park. Do not have an insurance license to force anyone to have renter's insurance in the state of Minnesota. They're not a licensed insurance company. Bam, all shit broke loose again. All right? Now, mind you, they said the rent wasn't in escrow. Now, I sent the repairs. I even called the courts, and I said, well, how do they get the rent? They said, well, they got to send us a letter that the repairs were done. Now, the repairs were done. I told the clerk that. Went down and I said, look, the repairs were done the next day, but I had to wait the following week because they had to order the parts for the bathroom. The bathroom thing was so old, man. It was back in the 60s, maybe the 50s. That's how old it was. But they had to tear all of that out, man. But they did the work. Now, the maintenance guys did the work. They did a hell of a job. I took my hat to them, okay? And so then, all of a sudden, I was gone for a while, and I came back, and my apartment was searched, okay? And I'm trying to figure out, well, who the fuck searched my apartment? You know? So as I heard somebody trying to get in the door, and it was Jenna. No 24-hour notice, no nothing. She's opening up my door. Grab the door, and she well, what the fuck are you doing? You don't got no fucking right to just enter my place. You know? That's just what I'm telling her. You don't got no fucking right to enter my place. Who the fuck you think you are, man? I'm hot, right? So she puts her phone on and shit, right? And she recording everything, you know? I don't give a fuck you record. You don't record while I'm standing in my apartment. You don't got no fucking legal right to record me while I'm standing in my damn apartment. Get the fuck out of here, man. You know? And so then she comes out of her mouth and says, well, I had the police search your residence. You what? I'm hot now. What the fuck is with these people in Minnesota, man? They think that they can just violate our fucking privacy rights, constitutional rights, and every fucking thing else, man. What the fuck is wrong with this bitch, man? Bam. I sent a letter. Sent a letter to the police chief of Hutchinson, Minnesota. Right? And they sent me a letter back. First, they investigated it because I sent the letter. I said, look, I want to know, I want the copy of the video, the body camera or video camera of the officers that searched and tore up my apartment so I could proceed with a federal lawsuit on this here. You have no right, if you don't have a court order by a judge, to search my residence, right? And so this is what the police chief sent me. First, the officer that took the report was real nice. Officer was real nice and spoke to me several other times. Says, no, nobody here searched your place. She tried to blame this on the police, whatever she did. So I said, yeah, they tore my place up, man. Everything was open and searched through and stuff like that, man. And she told me the police. That's why I sent the letter, because I wanted the names of the officers that searched my residence without a fucking federal search warrant or a court order search warrant from a judge. I want this fucking information. I want a copy of the fucking search warrant, you know? And so the police chief from a place called Hutchinson, right there, Hutchinson, Minnesota, they said, we don't know what you're talking about. My officers did not go in your apartment. I checked and checked. Now, I don't know if they was telling the truth or not, but I got to take this man's word, this person's word, because they say there's no records of that, no recordings, no calls, no nothing. Now, mind you, when you make a call, I don't give a damn if it's on a police cell phone or whatever. You got the right to have a copy of that, okay? And there was no calls from no police officers to go and search my residence. None. So she did this to blame the police for the damage that she did in my apartment, okay? And I'm like, God damn, man, this fucking lady just keeps fucking with me and fucking with me, man. Now, for you to turn around, before I forget, after I cursed her out, okay, after I cursed her ass out, she comes up with some bullshit saying, now mind you, she got here on 10/8/2024, property manager delivered a small unpaid balance letter to me. I'm saying I'm not paying that until you give me what I'm asking for. By law, it says I have a right. Listen carefully. By law, on the tenants and landlords' rights. By law, under utilities, I got the right to ask you for these bills and how much the other tenants were paying on this water bill. And I got that right. That's what the Minnesota law says. I have that right. I'm not going to keep dishing out money when my bill, I'm the only one here. There's no fucking way on God's green earth I'm doing $60 worth of water under no circumstances. $80 under no circumstances. None whatsoever. I'm here by myself. They charge us for wash and dry. They charge us for that. They put that towards our bill. Everything that this fucking business is doing over here is corrupt. They are crooks. They are fucking, this is a straight RICO act. A corruption organization, an organization of corruption. Okay, that's what this falls under, the RICO Act in federal court. All right? And so she goes, because I called her a crook, and I got that right to call what I see. She says, oh, he walked up on me. Now, mind you, she got her phone out. Disrespect behavior towards property manager. You disrespect me first. You see me standing right there at the garage smoking my cigarette. You walk past me to put something on my door when I'm standing right there. You could have just handed it to me. That's all you had to do. Even though you still did not hand me what I've been asking for. You hand me a water bill with a sewage price of $48.35. When the law says we're not responsible for sewage or sewage repairs. Tenants are not, the person that's responsible for the sewages and sewage repairs are the landlord, property manager, and owner of the property, not tenants. Look it up for yourselves, people. Look it up for yourselves. We are not responsible for this sewage shit whatsoever. It's amazing how it's amazing, like right here, sewage, 8/1/2024 to 8/31/2024, 2586. We're not responsible for sewage. Tenants are not responsible for sewage. The Minnesota law says that. Tenants are not responsible for sewage repairs or sewage, period. Okay? We're not responsible when you're charging us to use the wash and dryer and you're charging us the same water that's being used in that wash and dryer. You're charging us that too from a separate room. We're not responsible for that. This is the corruption, man. And the shit I don't know what happened. All I know is you violated my constitutional rights. You violated the laws of the state of Minnesota. Retaliation, discrimination. Hey, I shouldn't have had to go through all of this shit just to get repairs done. Okay? I shouldn't have had to go through that. Like the door. You had to lift the door just to shut it. It wasn't like that when you moved in. Yes, it was. Yes, the door was like that. So what the fuck you talking about? So the guy comes, he fixed the door, right? I kept complaining about that. I said, I need this front door. I need the door fixed. You can just push the door, it opens up. So I had to put a chair against the door at night, because you can just push the door and the fucking apartment door opens up. I got tired of that, Got tired of that. I'm like, look, the guy comes, he fixed the door, he lifts the door up, he levels the door out, did wonderful job on the door. Wonderful job on the door. Find out from the tenants next door, oh yeah, man, Kelly, the people that used to live here, they kicked that door in, they tore that place up, man. And I'm saying, well, what about in the corner? When it rains, all of the water comes in down in the corner of the floor. Comes in from the ground down in the corner. When it rains, they did that cement thing out there, so the water just piles up and goes down the little side and it comes into the wall down there. So I always got to put a towel down when it rains. She says, yeah, they messed that apartment up, man. I says, oh, okay. I should not have to go and put nothing in escrow to get repairs done. Okay. Then the attorney lied to the courts. When I pulled out the letter, gave them a copy, I said, look, I've been asking for these repairs since I took over this apartment. They knew that these damages were there. Jenna just did not want to have the repairs done. Okay. That's just like when I asked for the bars, I got to call corporate. Okay. It's a 5-minute call. You ain't that fucking busy where you can't. Hey, look, I got a disabled vet or a disabled person here that wants to know if he could put handles in the tub so you get in and out of the tub, And all I got to do is say yes or no. That's it. And then you tell me, well, it's your decision. You make those decisions. Well, you made a fucked up decision because I had to wait. I even got a text message where I sent her. Look, I'm tired of this retaliation and this discrimination against me because all I asked for was handles to be put in the tub so I could lift myself up and get myself out and in. That's all I asked for. But you retaliating and showing this discrimination towards me, it violates the ADA Act automatically because all I asked for this here, that's it. That's it. And you just come off the bullshit and just come after me all kinds of crazy. Then you enter my residence. You search my residence, which I don't know what the fuck you was looking for, and all of this bullshit. Then the lady, her supervisor, you heard her name. I called the courts and the court said you never put nothing in escrow. Wait a minute, that was in escrow 12/31/2024. Then they tried to extort money again. You see that? There's the signatures when that was there. There's the signatures right there. That's the courts and the deputy that signed it. See, right there. So this deputy and this court administration person lied that they didn't have the escrow. But she said, you heard what she said. I called the courts and the courts said they don't know nothing about your escrow. You didn't put escrow into the courts. Right there it says, notice of hearing for rent escrow, Minnesota 504B 385, subsection 5. And what it says, if they refuse to do repairs after you asked and asked and asked, you have the right to put the rent in escrow until the repairs are done. They have to contact the courts, let the courts know with a printout that the repairs were done, what date, time, and proof. So I did everything by law, and this lady says I lied to her. See, this is where some of these white folks are in Minnesota, man. It's nothing but a racketeering act. That's all this is racketeering, man. Under the RICO Act. That's all it is. And already people are moving out of this building because the rent shouldn't be that fucking high any goddamn way. Under no circumstance, you don't got nothing here. You got problems with repairs and everything else. So the rent shouldn't even be this fucking high. But everyone that's already moved out and they're starting to move in, they stay a year and that's it until their lease is up, And then she tells me, well, we're not renewing your lease for these reasons. What reason? Disrespecting the property manager. Bitch, you disrespected me first. But that's not a legal reason. And then she got marked noise, but loud noise or something. From where? See, let me explain to everybody. When they put shit like that down, they got to have proof. We got the right to cross-examine and question all witnesses. And we got the right to let the judge know, are you protected under the Constitution and by your oath of office, do you have an oath of office on file? Because once you violate my rights, I'm going after your oath of office bond. Period. No sworn statements, none of that bullshit. You got the right to cross-examine everyone in that courtroom. Not on TV, not on video, none of that shit. You got the right to cross-examine every fucking one. Everyone, even their attorneys, you got the right to cross-examine. Because see, their attorneys cannot testify or open their fucking mouths. People don't understand that. Their attorneys can't open up their mouths whatsoever. Because once they open up their mouths, they already committed perjury to the courts. And that has been proven in a lot of cases, man. A lot of people is filing under the RICO Act against management companies. Because that's just what it is. It's a con game. Like a pyramid game. You know, and these mortgage companies and these private management companies should be hit with the RICO Act. You see? Because when I first saw the place, everything was cool, you know? Because there's no stairs there for me and stuff. Easy for me to get in and out. You know, next door to the hospital. That's beautiful. That's the best thing about it, you know? I can't help when I get sick all the time, but you don't got no right to go in and out of my fucking residence, man. And that's the bottom line, you know? And I'm not just gonna, you don't got no right to force me out of my lease. You don't got no right. See, I looked up the Minnesota law, and that protects me. Of renters, that protects me. And everything they did out of retaliation. And they put it in their own writing, they did it out of retaliation. That's what's so stupid these motherfucking people are, man. See, man, I'm filing a RICO Act against Goldmark Property Management, against Jenna and her supervisor. That's what I'm going to do in federal court. You know, because I'm not going to tolerate this shit. The law is what protects me. You got to have a legal grounds not to renew a lease. Not because you say, that's not a legal ground because I disrespected management. I called you a fucking crook. And that's what you are. You extort money from us. When the law says we are not responsible for sewage billing in Minnesota. You are responsible for the sewage, not tenants. It says right there, man, in the law in Minnesota. It says it right there in the law in Minnesota. Okay? Landlords are responsible for sewage and keep the property in maintenance, working condition, and living conditions. Okay? Maintenance sewers lines responsible. Any issue with the main sewer line, such as blockage or damage, the responsibility of the sewage is the responsibility of the landlord and property manager and owner of the property. Right there. Right there. They are responsible for sewage. Tenants are not responsible for sewage. In Minnesota, tenants are not responsible for sewage repairs or sewage payments. Landlords and property manager and owner of the property are responsible for the sewage. Right there. Right there. Minnesota law. Right there. I don't know if y'all can see it. I'll try to. Let me see if I can. Right there. Minnesota law. Under Minnesota law, landlords and tenants, sewage. I get tired of getting billed $38 for sewage, $27.50 for sewage, $48 for sewage, $60 for sewage. I'm not responsible for that shit, man. Y'all owe me about $3,000 for the sewage bill. And I want my money. I want my fucking money. Then you say, we're not renewing your lease because you called me a crook. You disrespect. No, I called you a fucking crook. And that's what the fuck you are. You're charging me stuff when the law says you cannot charge me. And now you say, well, we're not going to renew your lease because this is what you called me a crook. But wait a minute, you got your video, you took your phone out, you recorded it, and you state that I walked up on you. I didn't walk up on you. So we'll be asking the judge for a subpoena for your telephone. And I don't think you can delete it that it can't be found. It can be still found once you delete your pictures and shit. That shit can be found. Trust me, the FBI and the police departments and deputies can find that shit. Trust me, because I'm going to make sure that they take custody of your phone. And we don't want to hear no shit, well, you got a new phone. We don't want to hear that bullshit, because right then you're lying. See, but this is how these people lie, man. You heard this shit. This woman got the audacity to say there was no records.
Hi, this message is for Keith. This is Kristen calling from Goldmark Property Management. I'm calling in regards to the rent you owe at Echo Manor. I am calling. This is, I believe, the third time I've called and left you a message regarding the fact that we have not received a rent payment for you for the month of January. That is the month that you had said you put your rent in escrow. However, the courts confirmed that you did not deposit any money to the courts. So you do have an outstanding balance right now of $1,443.34, and we will be sending you the 14-day notice of intent to evict. So you will have 14 days from today, which is February 10th, to get your account paid in full to avoid the eviction being filed. If you could please give me a call as soon as you get this message at 952-567-7302. Thank you.
Now, mind you, that's the first call I got from her on February 10th. And I was at had a doctor's appointment. That's the first call I ever got from her. And then I called her back, left her a message that afternoon, because I didn't get finished with the doctor until about 6 o'clock. So I left a message. I don't know what you're talking about, because you're a damn liar. And I told her that right on the message I left her. You a damn liar. Here's the case number. Here's the file number. The rent was put in escrow, so come on, let's go with it. No more calls, no more nothing. Come on, let's go with it. Never heard shit back. So I called the courts, and I asked the courts, and they go, no, we never got no call from no person like that. You know, and she asked the other clerk, right? Because I went, I called down there. I went down there, and I said, well, I got a thing here that I filed, where the rent was in escrow. Here it is right here. It says, yeah. I already told them, once they send us what the judge said they got to send us is a copy that the repairs were done, the date and time that they did the repairs, then we'll release the rent money to them, point blank. I said, thank you. What do I got to do? You don't got to do nothing. That's what they told me at the courthouse. I said, okay. So then they call us again. We want our rent. Your rent was already paid. Your rent is in escrow. You can't fuck with me. You got to fuck with the courts. See, this is how much they lie in Minnesota, dude. This is how some of these white folks lie. Yeah, Keith, this is Christian. You owe us rent and all of this and all of that rent. I don't owe you a motherfucking thing. What's going to happen is you're going to owe me millions of dollars. And I'll tell this to any attorney out there. You take this case, I'll write a thing over where you take all the money. I don't want the money. It's the principle about this shit here. You know, from discrimination against veterans, against disabled, violation of the ADA Act, you know, you people. And the person that says that is gender. What do you mean by you people? Wait a minute, you Spanish and you racist against me? You say you people? What the fuck? Nah, man, this shit really pisses me off, man. The law says one thing in Minnesota. That's what the law says. You know, and what really freaked me out more than anything is when that judge, well, I don't know if that was a judge or magistrate or what, or administrative judge, because if it was an administrative judge, that got to be reheard, period, right? Because there's no more administrative judges, DOJ removed them motherfuckers, man. They got tired of paying out their fucking money to them for them and shit on violations that they do in the courts. So anyway, I'm like, wait a minute. This woman just lied, got on recording, saying that she called the courts, and I played that for the courts. Yeah, when I went down to the clerk's office, I played it that day. I said, well, she's saying that y'all told her this. I said, we never got no call from this person. We don't got no record whatsoever of this call coming in. When did it come in? When did you get the call? I got it February 10th. Hell no, we never got no call like that. You know, Because you got right here on the paperwork, Gold Property Management, rent and escrow, because they refused to do repairs after you asked and asked and asked. And you also left a copy of the letter, which states that I'm tired of this. I need these repairs done. All you're doing is retaliating against me because I asked for copies of the water bill. And we're not responsible for sewage. Left a copy of that letter right there when the attorney told the judge they wasn't aware of it. The attorney lied to the courts. And I don't know if the judge didn't do nothing to the attorney, but the judge should have. See, the judge should have done something to that attorney. The judge should have fined that attorney at least $500,000 for lying to the courts, because that attorney committed perjury. That attorney committed perjury on record. Literally. Where they wasn't notified about the repair. Whoa. You wasn't notified about the repairs. Not only were you notified, there was a letter sent, and there's also in the letter where it says, I'm tired of this retaliation. I need these repairs done. Tired of this retaliation and discrimination. I need these repairs done. Or I'm putting it in escrow. That's what I did. That's just what I did. But she goes and says, Christian says, I called the courts and they said there was nothing in escrow for the rent. Wait a minute. So I looked it up. I said, well, wait a minute. I called it back. I said, first of all, it was put in escrow for January's rent, 12/31/2024. See right there? You see this top right here is a clerk manager or the defendant landlord. Okay, Gold Market Property Management. All right? Because they kept calling me. The hearing was on 1/13/2025 at 1:30 p.m. All right? And it says Azuma, whatever the fuck you call that. You know? And then right here, it was stamped right there, the date that it was in, issued on 12/31/2024, dated 12/31/2024. Right there. Court stamped right there. But you claim, oh, I forgot because you white, you can lie. I totally forgot about that, man. I totally forgot about that because you white, you could remind me of this guy, man, where they try to break into the apartment and when I spoke with the two idiots, man, they go, no, Callie, we're more afraid of you than the police, man. We're more afraid of you than the police, Callie. Fuck that, man. You know, we don't want no problems with you, man. I said, well, who told you? And I want to know what made you think that you could get in this apartment, right? And so then when they said, well, we was told, and this is what I hate about some of these motherfuckers out here in Minnesota. We was told to rob your apartment. We was told to do this, okay? We call the police to have them let us in saying that there was a water line that busted in your apartment. But wait a minute, all of the main water valves and everything is around the corner. Nowhere near my apartment. They're around the corner in another room from the building. That's what we was told to do. We was told once the police let us in, when we say it's an emergency, then we're supposed to rob you. Take everything that we want and put water down, act like they had these big pitchers of water. They're supposed to put it down, but the cop got there too quick. So they couldn't put the water down to act like the water's coming from under the door from the apartment. And that's why they didn't have time to put the water down, because the police car got there fast and they didn't expect that. That blew their mind. And he goes, that's what happened. The police lady came too fast. We was ready to put the big gallons of water down, pour it all in the walkway and stuff, act like it's coming from under your apartment door, you know? And I'm like, y'all some dirty motherfuckers. Then what y'all was going to do? Well, Adam said that take whatever you want, you know, because he wanted you out because of what you said. Oh, because of the letter I sent him. When he said the reason why he's raising the rent is because his property taxes went up. And I said, well, that's not our problem that your property taxes is going up. If you couldn't afford the property, you shouldn't have bought it. That's what I said to him. That's just what I said to Adam. I sent the letter to him. You know, I said, well, if you couldn't afford the property taxes, you shouldn't have bought the property. That's what I told him. I wasn't gonna lie about it. Well, we're not gonna renew your lease. You gotta renew my lease because my lease was already signed. I don't give a fuck about what you say. Then I'll get you for the moving costs and everything else, which I'm about to do that too on his punk ass. All right. So what was you supposed to do after that? Well, Adam told us to get the officer to open up the doors. And if they ever called us, we'll say we never authorized them to open up your door. We never called them to tell them to open up your door as an emergency or anything. So let me get this straight. You was going to blame the police officer that opened up my door for the robbery. Yeah. Holy shit. Boy, y'all some dirty motherfuckers in Minnesota. So let me understand this very clearly. Adam told you to get into my apartment to rob me and blame everything on the police once the police opens up my door because y'all claimed that there was a flood in my apartment. But y'all didn't have the time to put the water down, the big gallons of water down, act like it's coming from under the door because the officer came too fast. Yeah. And you carrying 2 gallons of water in that white truck. Yeah. Let me see. Open the truck, man. 2 big gallons of water right there. They're supposed to take those 2 gallons of water, pour it in front of the doorway, acting like it's coming from under the door so the police can open up the apartment for an emergency of a so-called flood that was going to rob everything, blame it on the police, saying they didn't call the police to open up the door or nothing like that. And the white guys got away with that in Minnesota. See? So they can falsely accuse a cop for a crime that they did not commit. I was hot. I was so fucking mad. I went down there. I told that police lady, man, I said, look, what burns me up more than anything is they try to blame a cop of a crime that they did not commit. I was hot, man. I told that police lady, I said, look, man, I'm going to put it like this. I don't give a fuck what you are, who you are, whatever. Any motherfucking person in Gibbons, Minnesota fucks with you, police department, I will take the law into my own hands. There's no issue, no bust about it. Them police officers there got nothing but the utmost respect. The utmost respect for citizens. I'm not gonna let that shit happen. I was hot, man. I was so fucking hot. I said, them motherfuckers need to be locked up. Even Adam needs to have his ass locked up because he get 2 idiots that said, well, they was supposed to pour the water down, but the police car got there too quick for them to pour the water down and blame the breaking and entering and my shit stolen on the police. Wow. I'm some dirty motherfuckers, man. These landlords are some dirty motherfuckers, man. These fucking people are some dirty motherfuckers, man. And this shit, I don't know why, but I hate when people try to fucking fuck with me when it says the law says I got the right. The law of the state of Minnesota on the landlord tenants utility bills, I got the right to ask for this. And they have to give me the original paperwork, the right, not what they print up off the computer, they invoices and all of that shit, not what they print up. We have that right, okay? We have that right to know what the previous tenants were paying because that's what the law says. I don't give a fuck about their last name or none of that shit, but we got the right to know what the previous tenants were paying. You see, we have that right. Then they turn around and it's called Hutchinson Utilities. Never gave them my social security number. Identity theft off of a computer. They still refuse to tell me how they got my social security number. So the only way I can see that is only 2 ways, which I already found out how, but I'm not going to say that on here. But only 2 ways. Management department gave it to them, or they got it from the computer, which is a federal offense. And that's what I'll be charging. I'll be suing them against because I did not give you my social security number. And I'll also be charging identity theft against the person that wrote up the ticket. I'll be filing against her too. And I don't give a fuck if she got kids or what. I'll be filing a lawsuit against her too because she lied on a legal document. Okay. And they corrupt, man. This is in Minnesota, man. This is a crime organization. That's what it is, man. You know, and it's pitiful because they go after us that fights for our rights and what we believe in and what the law says we got a right to do. Retaliation is against the law in the state of Minnesota. Check this out. Anyone, any landlord or property management commits retaliation. Retaliation is against the law in the state of Minnesota. Against the law in the state of Minnesota. Retaliation from a landlord, property management, anything in that nature. Once you retaliate against a tenant, these laws cannot be waived. Once you enter a tenant's residence without notifying that tenant, you're in violation. These laws cannot be waived. Once you violate this Minnesota law about copies of utility bills, these laws cannot be waived whatsoever. The tenant has a right to sue the landlord for each violation, plus attorney fees, pain, and suffering. Point blank, man. You know, but they are so fucking damn, they can lie their asses off, man. They can lie their asses off, man. They can lie their fucking asses off. You know, it is so fucking hilarious, man. We're not renewing your lease, but we can retaliate against you. And if anybody noticed this here, once you say, well, I called them, but they got their rent though that month. They get their rent. Because I told the courts, I went down there to the courts, I said, well, this person, I played the recording. It was those are some cool clerks down there. I ain't gonna lie about it at the courthouse, man. I played the recording for them. I said, look, why did y'all tell them? This person called in and said y'all said this to her. So I played the recording. And so then there's only ladies up there, right? And so the lady go, we never caught no call from these people. No, because if we did, we would have told them what they had to do. They had to send the repairs notice to us and we'll release the escrow rent to them. They didn't call us for shit, you know. They didn't say that. They didn't call us at all. You know, they didn't notify the courts or nothing, sir. I said, well, here's a copy. No, I just mailed out the copy to the courts that the repairs were done, but I waited another week because they had to order the other parts for the bathroom, you know? And that's all I wanted was, I didn't have to, see, the law says that repairs have to be done, period. Okay? I couldn't use the kitchen sink. I couldn't use the tub. That is vital repairs that has to be done. Like when the heat went out, I was freezing my ass off, dude. Had no heat. Okay? Had no fucking heat. And I got sick because I had the electrical stove on to give me heat. And I'm texting them and I'm calling them. And the call went to some out of state area to another part of Goldmark Property Management. It went out to New Jersey. And New Jersey said, we don't run that property there. You got to call this number here. It kept giving me the runaround for 2 fucking days, man. From the 29th to the 30th, I had no fucking heat. It was freezing in here. Fucking totally freezing. I had to turn the stove on and I was getting sick. And so then the alarm went off. And that's when the officer came and said, dude, you know, what's going on? I said, I have no heat. That's why I got the stove on. Oh, that ain't no good, man. That ain't no good. So they trying to figure out the right number to call and everything else. And they couldn't even figure it out, man. They kept giving me the same number as I've been calling and stuff. And it was crazy, man. It was crazy. And so I even put that statement in when I put the rent in escrow for January. And it was like, no, for February. And it was like, it just like the judge just didn't care. The judge fucking just didn't fucking care. That's why I don't like I don't want no fucking woman judge, man. I don't want no fucking woman judge. whatsoever, man. I don't want no fucking women judge, man. But that judge didn't give a fuck. And it's right there. It says, look, I had no heat from the 29th to the 30th, and it was freezing. I had to have the stove running, and I was getting sick. You cannot have an electrical stove running like that because you start smelling those fumes from the coils that the stove comes on, and that's not good. That shit is not good at all, man. You know, but they have violated every state and federal laws. They have violated every state and federal. I put it to you like this. Any attorney that hears this or watch this, you take this case, I sign a waiver right over to you. You get all the money. All the money. But we file it in federal court because I want $10 million against Goldmark Property for discrimination, hate, retaliation, conspiracy under the RICO Act. Jenna, $100 million. Retaliation, discrimination, corruption under the RICO Act, and her boss. And her boss. And her boss. And her boss. Once you sign a paper, you are saying under the penalty of perjury, you are telling the truth. That's what you're doing. Well, these people could lie their asses off, man. You heard the recording. This is Crystal. I called for courts and they said you never put nothing in escrow. And what the fuck? Every time I hear that, it cracks me up. Oh, and then they say, well, you owe for renter's insurance. No. I don't think so. See, I got the right whether I want to have renter's insurance or not by your fucking crooked ass shit. You see, that's uncalled for. And for you to give out my information to other parties, that's identity theft. And I'm going to book you on that too. You see, your ass supposed to be in jail. Okay? But it kind of puzzles me. How can a Spanish person be so racist against us, but not against white people? That's funny, man. That's funny. I will not be paying insurance. I will no longer pay for no renter's insurance. It does not help me whatsoever. Goldmark Property Management and Deer Park Management is not an insurance company and has no right by laws of the state of Minnesota to sell insurance because you do not have an insurance license in the state of Minnesota. Violated my Fourth Amendment rights, extortion under the RICO Act, and everything. 12/31/2024. That's when I sent that letter out to them. To Echo Management, Deer Park. Here's your February rent for $985. See, I will not be paying. I don't give a fuck about this $11. I got insurance. I don't need to give out my personal information like that to these motherfucking people. No, we don't got by law. There's nothing in the law that says we got to give them or let them have a copy of our insurance policies, of our vehicles, or anything else like that. We don't know what the fuck these people doing with this shit. See, we got to blame also the government for the corruption and the identity theft because they help with that. Our government helps with identity theft, believe it or not. They help with identity theft, the Social Security theft. Our own government does this. Never give out your Social Security number to nobody. That's not for you to give out. That's your number, only your number. You don't need to put it on no application or nothing. You don't want to hear shit they got to say. They got to send you a letter. We're not renting to you because you refuse to give your Social Security number. Bam. Federal law. You are not allowed to give your Social Security number out to nobody. No application, no nothing. And let me explain something to you. Well, half of you generation don't know this, but this is what happened. They didn't start doing a credit check, and the reason why they did that is to keep blacks and Puerto Ricans from renting in nice neighborhoods. That's why they started the credit check. Back then, you didn't have no credit check, period. You didn't have none of that shit. And then also, it's violation of your privacy because you are not an employee when you rent. You are a renter. No matter which way you look at it, how they put it, that's still in violation of your privacy. Okay? That's still in violation of your privacy, period. Okay? And when they started that, they started all of that shit to keep blacks and Puerto Ricans out of certain neighborhoods. Okay? That's why they started that shit. That shit should be wiped out, man. It should be wiped the fuck out, point blank. It should be wiped out. But they are crooks, man. And like, I give you an example. My neighbor showed me their water bill. Wait a minute, you only paying, wait a minute, y'all only paying $14 a water bill, but y'all ain't got nothing on there for sewage. What the fuck? So I'm the only one over here. Me and the other person is paying for sewage, but y'all not. And your bill is cheaper than ours, lower than ours. Ain't this about a bitch? I was hot, man. I live by myself. My water bill shouldn't even be that. My water bill wasn't even hot. Matter of fact, I never knew about water bill because they never told me that. All they said was rent. I'll never forget the lady. She says, no, you're responsible for your rent. Oh, okay, no problem. No problem. But you want a garage? Yeah, let me get a garage because I don't want to, I don't know how it snows over here and stuff. So I got a garage, keep my car in it. But this is what happened when it snowed. I asked the lady that cleans out the hallways and stuff. I said, hey, do they move the snow from in front of the garage? So she calls up Jenna. Now, mind you, she got her phone on speaker. She calls up Jenna. And the guy, the gentleman in apartment 6 wants to know, would they move this snow in front of the garage? Oh, that asshole, fuck him. Yeah, that's what she called me. That's what she called me. So I went out there to the dude. I said, man, look, I don't give a fuck. But y'all responsible for this property, man. If I fall and hurt myself, I'll sue the fuck out of your asses, man. I'm going to tell you now, I fell once. Okay? And I was hurt for days, man. Your asses need to move that fucking snow and that ice. Period. We don't move it in front of the driveway, in front of your garage. We just push this shit up in front of your garage. I'm not responsible for shit. This is your property. The money that you charge us for rent, you move that shit from in front of my goddamn garage. I even told the dude that was plowing the snow. I said, move that shit from in front of my garage, man. Well, we was told, but I don't give a fuck what you told. I'm telling you, man, move that snow from in front of the garage, man. That's not my duty. That's not my job. This is you working for this property company. You move that snow from in front of my fucking garage, man. So I get my car in and out. I got a doctor's appointment. Yeah. They so fucking under the RICO Act. And a lot of people are doing it. There's a couple of cases in Minnesota, a lot of cases in California, some in Las Vegas, Nevada, starting to file RICO Act charges on these motherfuckers, man. Lawsuits. RICO Act lawsuits on these motherfuckers, man. They charge all of this money and we don't get shit. They corrupt, man. Wake up, people. Wake the fuck up, man. Start fighting these motherfuckers, man. See what, what gives me is in Minnesota, and I had to ask this. I had to ask because I called down to the Attorney General's office to find out what was my rights about that. And the guy sent me a thing about the billing and stuff and who's responsible for sewage. Oh, no, tenants in Minnesota are not responsible. The whole state of Minnesota, they say. This goes for all of Minnesota. Tenants are not responsible for sewage. Owner of the property is responsible for sewage. The landlord and the property manager are responsible to pay the sewage bill. Period. Not tenants. Not tenants whatsoever. All over the state of Minnesota. Not tenants, man. And all I asked was for that there. And she just came at me so hard, dude. She had my residence searched and stuff, man. And you got fucking behind retaliation, man. All because I asked for something that the law says I got a right to ask for. And got retaliated against. Like, I'll give you another example. They got mad because I was sending them rent by mail. Yeah, I was sending the rent by mail because I refused to let them have my information out of my account again. And they kept sending it back to me. Okay? They ripped off out of my account $1,045 and change, right? And I went down to the bank at that time and I said, why did y'all let them do that to my account, man? I said, oh no, we're gonna investigate this here. They ripped off $1,043.94. And it was paid out by a company called it has an email address. And we tried to contact them, but the bank contacted them. Wells Fargo contacted them and said, look, you committed fraud on this man's account. If this money's not put back in, we'll be taking legal action. Boy, did they put that money back in quick, man. Yeah, the next day they put that money back in because Wells Fargo don't play that shit, man. You know? And then all of a sudden they say, well, I'm going to mail out. I said, I'm going to mail out the rent. Fuck y'all. It was mailed out to them and they kept sending it back. Return to sender, return to sender. Oh, and this lady here, she goes, I got a recording too about you sending the mail, you mailing out the rent. You can't do that. You can't mail nothing to the main office. You can't do that. Wait a minute. I can't mail nothing to the main office. What the fuck? Let me see if I got this shit on here still. Because I was listening to it before. You can't.
Well, it says for Keith, this is Matthew.
No, I don't want y'all to hear that call. Yeah, it says you cannot mail nothing out to the office. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Terry. I'm calling with McLeod County Court.
Yeah.
Hi, Keith. It's Abby.
Oh, that's my nurse.
Hi, Keith. This is John.
Oh. Okay, let me see if I can find this shit.
Hi, this message is for Keith. This is Kristen calling from Goldmark Property Management.
Okay, that's Christian there again. Let me see.
Well, it says for.
Okay, let me see if I can find it. But
Hi, this is JJ calling from Capital One.
let's see if I can.
Hi, Keith. This is Cindy from Liberty.
Let's see if I can find it.
Hi, Keith. That's Hutchinson Health calling.
I was
Hi, this is here with Energy Assistance.
They got mad at me because I was mailing the rent. Yeah, they literally got mad at me because I was mailing the rent. And she told me I'm not allowed.
Good morning. This is Angela.
I'm not allowed to mail the rent out.
Hi, Keith. This is Janie. I got your voicemail. I am.
Okay, that's that crook lady.
Hello, this message is for. Hi, Keith. This is Stephanie calling from Divine Home Care.
I got it in here somewhere. I just gotta find it.
Hi, Keith. This is Jesse calling.
It's funny how corrupt these motherfuckers are, dude.
This is.
It's amazing.
Hi, Keith. That's Justin.
It's fucking amazing when you try to mail something out, when you try to mail the rent out, and they tell you you're not allowed to.
Hi, Keith. That's Hutchinson Health.
You know, it's fucking amazing how fucking stupid these fucking people really are, dude.
Well, it says for.
It's fucking amazing, man. And it's funny because she does this shit to us
Hi, Keith. This is John.
and act like, wait a minute,
Hi, it's Abby.
I got a right to mail out the rent.
Hi, Keith. It's Abby.
Who the fuck are you telling I can't mail out the rent to, man? I got the right to mail out my rent.
Hi, Keith. This is Justin.
I gotta find it.
Hello, my name is Darcy.
But yeah, she called me. Christian called me and said you're not allowed to mail out your rent.
Hi, Keith. This is Kristen. I am calling from Goldmark Property Management. I'm the regional manager for Echo Manor, and I am calling in regards to an outstanding balance you have with us of $282.05.
I don't got no outstanding balance.
Hi, Keith. My name is Kim. It's Rick. Kim.
It's funny. They say, well, you're not
Hi, this message is for
you're not allowed to mail out the rent, huh?
Hi, this message is for Keith. This is Kristen. I'm calling from Goldmark Property Management. I'm the regional manager for Echo Manor. I am calling to follow up with you because a few weeks ago we had a scheduled time to meet at the office.
Oh, I already feel my attorney told me don't meet up with them. But I'm trying to find the other one where she called me.
Hi, I'm Abby.
Hi, Keith. This is.
Yeah, they crooks, man. Echo Management Properties are crooks.
Hello, Keith. Hi, this message.
Damn, I got a lot of calls, man. I keep all my calls, always too.
Hi, this is.
I even got calls from my sisters that passed away.
Hi, this message is for Keith. This is Kristen. I am calling from Goldmark Property Management. I'm the regional manager for Deer Park and Echo Manor Apartments in Hutchinson. And I'm calling in regards to the letters that you have been mailing to the property office. If you can please give me a call back when you get this. The phone number that you can reach me at is 763-757-6317. I will only be available today, October 16th, until 3 p.m. So if I do not hear back from you today before 3 p.m., I will give you a call tomorrow, which is Thursday the 17th. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Now, I was mailing the rent out there. Okay? And they sent it back, return to sender. Then when I left a message for her, she called me. She said, well, wait a minute, you can't mail out the rent. Yes, I can. You show me a law that says I'm not allowed to mail rent out to you. Show me that fucking law. They couldn't show me nothing. See, this is how dirty Christian and Jenner is against renters. Period. Okay? And about the letter you sent, the letter was the envelopes, cashier's checks of the rent. As long as I took that out, I don't give a fuck. As long as it's stamped in the date that I took that money out and you don't get it on time, that's on you. Not me. You shouldn't have fucked with my accounts. No, you caused the problem. I didn't cause the problem. You caused the problem, but they try to, man, they corrupted Minnesota, man. You know, and you see, this is what I don't understand. I just cannot understand this. These management people and these landlords, they lie on the police, and the police let them get away with it. That's the part I don't fucking understand. But if you or me or someone else lie on the police, you get locked up. Why these motherfuckers are not prosecuted for lying on the police, for trying to set the police up for a crime they did not commit? See, I was so hot, man, and I told that I told, and that's a beautiful lady too, man. That I think she police chief. That's a fine woman. She is beautiful. And I told that police chief, I said, look, what pisses me off more than anything is when those two idiots said Adam told them to have the officer open the door and they was going to take everything like the place was robbed and blame it on the officer, but the officer got there too quick, so they didn't have time enough to pour the water down and act like the place was flooded. If that ain't conspiracy and try to commit a crime against a cop, I don't know what is, man. I don't know what the fuck is. I was so upset. I said, if you want to come after me, come after me. Don't bring nobody else involved. You want to come after me? Come on with it. Don't bring other fucking people involved. You don't got to bring the police involved in it. You want to come after me? Come after me. Them cops didn't do a fucking thing to you, but let me get this straight here. You idiots are telling me that Adam told you to get the water poured in the front, act like it's coming from under the door so they can open up the door under the Emergency Act. You robbed the place and blame it on the police that opened the door, and they call and find out if you called them to open the door and you say no. So you want to accuse the police of a burglary, apartment burglary, which is a house burglary, and that came from the orders of your boss, Adam. Yeah. Gotcha. Oh, damn it, I forgot. They white guys, so that's okay. But wait a minute. The police out there are white too. Damn, that's some fucked up shit, man. They dirty out there in Minnesota, man. You got to watch yourself, man. Let me tell you something, man. You got a Spanish person that's racist and hateful. And what really got me upset about her is her lies. You see, just like her boss is white, because she sound white, okay? And that's what really cracks me up, man. Well, I called the courts, and the court said you didn't put nothing in escrow, but the date and everything from the courts, there's a court document right the fuck there, signed by the courts. Court date. You cannot get the money until you fix the repairs, but the repairs were done. Once I gave that letter to the clerk of the courts, and they gave a copy to their attorney, I know the attorney would say, God damn, I lied to the judge. I lied on record to the judge that they was never notified. And here's a fucking letter from this tenant that states, stop the discrimination and retaliation. I need these repairs done. A letter from the tenant that he sent to y'all. And you made me lie to the judge. That wasn't no judge. That person that person was a clown. That wasn't no fucking judge. Because the judge should have turned around and fined that attorney and that attorney's firm. They should have locked that attorney up for perjury to the courts. That's what they should have did. They should have locked that motherfucking attorney up right there for perjury. Right there for perjury. They're supposed to lock that attorney up, man. That judge is supposed to call that attorney back down there and lock that motherfucker up for perjury and file perjury charges against Goldmark Property Management. That's what that judge was supposed to do. This man had been complaining and asking for repairs since he moved in. All repairs were stopped because he asked for copies of the water bill because he's not responsible for sewage. And here's the law. See, you got to go after these judges against their bonds for violating their oath of office. That's what you got to do. You got to put a talk against their bond, a $20 million talk against their bond. And they'll make a deal once you put a $20 million talk against their bond, if they bonded. If they're not bonded, they ain't supposed to touch no legal documents. It's like the courts or the clerks. If they don't got no bond, they're not supposed to touch no fucking thing in the clerk's office, man. Clerks can't work in the courthouse. They cannot work in the courthouse if they're not bonded. If they do not have a bond on file with the secretary of that state, they're supposed to be removed immediately. And everything they sign is void. There's so many cases out there about it in the United States Superior Court. So many cases out there, man. And these motherfuckers are straight corrupt, dude. And and the attorney general, it's so amazing because the attorney general for the state of Minnesota knows that this problem's going on, and yet he's the one that signed these laws into effect, and they're not following the laws, and these judges are supposed to be penalizing and fining these fucking, man, it's fucking insane, dude. It's fucking insane. So she slipped under my door today. My lease ends on 8/31, 2025. Fuck that. You ain't forcing me out of my home. Let's go to court. I don't get. I am so fucking tired of these racist, fucking corrupt motherfuckers, man. I really am. I'm fucking tired of this fucking corruption, and it's gonna be me to bring these motherfuckers down. I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna stop this fucking corruption shit from Gold Market Property Management to Jenna and to her supervisor, Christian. We go to federal court, you see, and I don't want no judge to hear shit. I want the jury to see the evidence, hear the evidence, look at the evidence. That's what I want. A jury, you see, a jury. They are guilty of corruption, violation of the RICO Act. They are guilty of the RICO Act. You see, this is what the law says. Tenants are not responsible for sewage. But you're charging this man 25 something to 38 something to 58 something for sewage when the law says tenants are not responsible for sewage all over the state of Minnesota. You have to notify these tenants within 24 hours for entering a residence, but you did not. Then you searched this man's residence and blamed it on the police. A letter from the Hutchinson police chief. We don't know what you were talking about. We never sent no one there. Plus, if it was a court order, a search warrant by a judge signed a court order, that's the only way, sir. And we have no such thing on file. So you have to look at the property management. They're blaming that on the police. That's twice. A company blaming something on the police in Minnesota when it comes to my constitutional rights. You search my place without a federal warrant or a United States Superior Court judge's warrant because you hate me that much. Because all I asked for was copies of what the law says I got a right to ask for. No, your asses need to be in jail, man. Your asses need to be, retaliation is against the law, man. Retaliation, discrimination, and hate is against the law. Your ass is supposed to be cuffed. Locked the fuck up. You and your boss, Christian. Both of y'all motherfuckers need to be cuffed and locked up. And there's so many lawsuits all over the United States with Gold Market Property Management for discrimination, violation of the ADA Act, discrimination against veterans. It's crazy, man. It's fucking insane. You get violated because of the color of your skin. Matter of fact, I think I'm the only brown person that's over here, too. Come to think about it, because everybody else is white. Oh, there's a Spanish. No, I haven't seen that guy upstairs. I think he got evicted. I haven't seen that other guy upstairs. He was, I think he was Spanish. I haven't seen him in months, But it's just crazy, man. They are very fucking racist, man. They are very racist. And it's time to take them down, man. My buddy said, man, you know what? Maybe this is a sign for you to take them down, man, Shafiq. You ever think about that, man? Because I notice everywhere you go, you ask for what it says by law, and they retaliate against you. I said, I know. And the bad part about it is that these motherfuckers know retaliation is against the law. Because there's a law in Minnesota, retaliation is against the law. They can be charged and arrested for retaliation. And that's what they should be doing. They should be fucking arrested. They should be locked the fuck up, man. You broke into my residence and you blame it on the police. See, that's the ass kicker of it all right there. You tell me, you called the police and you had the police search my residence. That came out of your mouth. That's why I sent the letter to the police chief. I wouldn't have known nothing about that if you didn't open up your mouth and tell me that. And now you're saying you didn't tell me that, but that's what made me send the letter to the police chief. I want the names of the officers that searched my residence without a fucking warrant. Violation of my constitutional rights. Search and seize. I want the name of these motherfucking pigs that searched my residence. But then I find out that the cops didn't search my residence. You searched my residence. So you should be charged with breaking and entering, burglary, violation of my constitutional rights, search and seize. You're supposed to be charged. You're supposed to be in jail. But I forgot, it's okay in Minnesota, these motherfuckers to lie on these cops. It's okay because these prosecutors don't do shit. But I'm wondering though, if I was all white, would they go after them? And I'm really believing that they would if I was all white. Yeah, I believe that they would go after them. But I'm not all white. I'm Italian. I can't help it. I can't help it. You know, let me explain something to you idiots, man. Let me tell you, in the old days, man, well, this place don't got no rivers. This place don't got no oceans. But in the old days, you could not disrespect us. You could not disrespect our mothers, our sisters, our families, especially our girls or our wives. When you try to talk to our wife back then, ladies back then have respect. Baby, this guy's trying to pick me up. See, back then they had respect. And you had no wins because it wasn't like that. You disrespected me when you're trying to talk to my woman. And that's not going to happen. But nowadays, there's no respect. There's no loyalty. You see, and that's the way it is nowadays. No respect for their fathers, their mothers, their children. No respect for themselves. You got on the internet, you got these women, YouTube, what's that other one? Facebook, whatever the fuck it is, Facebook, which should be banned. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter should be banned. Period. They all should be banned. But you got all over the internet, even when they had TikTok, you got these women that have no respect for themselves. And they tramps, they dogs. And that's just what they are. Because if you can post you in your drawers and butt naked on the internet, which that shit does not go away, then you have no respect for yourself. So you do not deserve to get respect. Period. Okay? There's no buts about it, man. You do not deserve respect if you cannot respect yourself. And then you got these idiots blame everything on the internet. No, it's your fault you did this. Nobody told you to try to copy what you've seen on the internet. You did that to yourself. It's just like, give you another example. 1886, case law. It states no president, governor, anyone in official office is above the laws. They can be prosecuted while they sit on the bench, while they sit in office. They can be taken into custody and prosecuted. In the United States, they praise rapists, molesters. See, you didn't hear all of that shit when I was growing up. Because you snatched somebody's kid, we looked for your ass, and we found you end up missing in the Hudson River somewhere, or out on the beach, out in the harbor. You got eaten up by the sharks. Okay? There's no issue, no bust about it. But then, this is how stupid society in America is. You praise a sexual predator. Trump has always been a sexual predator. The biggest lawsuit that we're working on now is against the government, against the Social Security Office, against the banks, against the post office, against the courthouses, and that goes against every fucking attorney general's office and everything. You have no right to praise and post in federal buildings, courthouses, post offices, anywhere, Trump's picture. He's a convicted sex predator, period. And then you got a sex predator that's trying to make a law. Well, y'all some sick motherfuckers, man. Y'all twisted, man. You praise a motherfucker that's a sex predator, but if your child or your wife got raped or raped a child, you want them prosecuted. Y'all some sick motherfuckers in this country, man. Y'all pathetic, man. Yeah. I was down at Social Security, y'all. I said, man, you got to take that picture down. Guy goes, who, Trump? I said, yeah. I find that very offensive to have a sex predator's picture in a so-called government official building. That motherfucker's a sex predator. Take that picture down. You got no right to praise a sex predator whatsoever. Y'all can't say shit, man. Y'all people so fucked up, man. It's not even funny, man. It's not even funny, you know. It's not even fucking funny, man. You know. And what really gets me is that everybody brags. He's a billionaire. He's a billionaire. But wait a minute. Hold up. So you mean to tell me every judge that handled his bankruptcies has committed treason and corruption? And he's supposed to be a billionaire, so he got money to pay these bills. He has money to pay these bills instead of filing bankruptcy. Wait a minute, something's not right here. He got sued, tells the court he's bankrupt, goes back in the presidency. Now he's a billionaire. But he tells the courts that he's broke. Huh? So if I was a billionaire, I could do the same thing. If I was a millionaire, I could do the same thing. I'm broke, so I got to file bankruptcy, but you can't fuck with my money. Huh? Wow. Trying to see the logic in this here, man. Because there ain't no fucking logic. He lied to the courts, and the judge let him lie to the courts. The judge need to be fucking removed from office, from the bench, and charged with helping him commit corruption under the RICO Act. Under the RICO Act. Wow, man. Y'all some pitiful motherfuckers, man, in this country, man. You know, and they keep saying, China this, China that. Now let me explain something to you idiots. You wouldn't have a motherfucking thing in this country if it wasn't for Al Capone, China, Singapore, Mexico, the Philippines, Taiwan. You wouldn't have shit in this country. Nothing. I remember my ex, she used to work for Baby Us and Toys R Us. And I kept telling her, no, they're only going out of business in the United States. They've been overseas, still doing business and still making money overseas in the Philippines, Singapore, MS Malls, which is in China, Singapore, Korea. They've been in the malls for years. They'll never go out of business over there. Never. Only in the United States. And this is why you idiots, they're taking our jobs. Nobody's taking your jobs. The government let them move out of the United States. Stop saying these people taking your jobs. Some people nobody's taking your fucking jobs. You're a lying motherfucker. Your own government took your jobs. That's what took your fucking jobs. See, this is what happened. We haven't made shit in the United States over 70 years. Everything that you say that's made in the United States, no. Nothing is made in the United States. Your cars come in. The only thing they assemble is the tires. They change the tires. They change the brakes. That's it. That's it. Oh, and the alarms. Other than that, and they drop the speed down. Because overseas, where they test drive the cars go 200 miles per hour. Speeds are fast. But they break the speeds down once they get into the United States. That's it. Everything in your house, everything in your car comes from a different country. Okay? And the reason why they let this happen is, first of all, the businesses were always from other countries, from Burger King to all of that. All of that shit was from other countries. They got tired of paying health insurance, vacation, sick time, for you motherfuckers. Period. So y'all got this idea in your mind, which the government put in your head because you're stupid. You don't have no common sense. You can't think for yourself, okay? Where they put in your head that these other people, other races took your jobs. Nobody took your fucking jobs. Nobody took your jobs. These jobs have been out of business in the United States and still going out of business out of the United States. They still open in other countries. So then you idiots, shop online, shop online. Oh, wait a minute. I got to put my credit card here. Okay, put my credit. Oh, I didn't order this. This going over there. Oh, I didn't order this. Oh, they got into my bank account. You did it to yourself. You did it to your. I have never shopped online with my credit card whatsoever. I would never do that. You people are so fucking amazing, man. A fucking mouse got better sense than y'all motherfuckers in this country. And this ain't your country. And let's get that clear right now. You racist white people do not belong in this country. This country belongs to the Indians, the blacks, and the Spanish. That's what this country belongs to. You racist white people, take your ass back to England. Period. Take your ass back to your country. This is not your country. You white people do not belong in this country. You racist white people do not belong in this country. Not you, your ancestors are not citizens. The natives of this country, Indian, black, and Spanish. They are the natives of this country. Not you racist white motherfuckers, man. Take your ass back to your country, England. No race white. No race white people is from this country. None. Take your ass back to your country. That's what you do. Peace out, man. I had to take my meds, man. I don't feel too good. Fuck, my chest is hurting me bad.